So, are planes more efficient than helicopters or vice versa? I would argue that planes are a lot more versatile and a lot more efficient than helicopters for three main reasons. Performance, number one, cost, number two, and safety. So, it's probably pretty obvious. You would think a plane, I mean, most airliners are planes, most cargo is planes, so you would think it's pretty obvious. But when you really break it down, when you look at private aviation and you think about a Cessna 172, which is like the base model for planes, and R-44, Robinson R-44, which is a base model for light helicopters, they are about the same speeds. A Cessna 172 will go about 124 knots, and R-44 will go about 120 knots. So it's about the same speed. The useful loads are about the same, so how much they can carry. R-44 can carry 100 or 818 pounds, while a 172 can carry 878. So that's also similar, and the prices are about the same. A brand new 172 is between 400 and 500,000, and a brand new R-44 is about a little over 500,000. So something that can go about the same speed, carry the same weight, and is a little more expensive can also hover, which was interesting to me because being able to hover and being able to stay in one place, you don't need an airport, you can take off and go wherever, you can stay in one place. I thought that was weird that they were so similar in price. So then I decided to look deeper into it, and one thing you'll find is one of the biggest differences in performance is range. So even though they have the same speeds and can carry the same weight, a Cessna 172 can fly a lot farther. So according to Cessna, the Cessna website, 172 can fly 640 nautical miles on a full tank, and R-44, according to the Robinson website, can only travel 300 nautical miles. So if you're carrying cargo, you can carry the same amount of cargo at the same speeds, but with the Cessna 172, you can fly it over twice as far. Also, a 172 burns a lot less gas. At cruise, it burns about 8 to 9 gallons per hour, while R-44 burns more, around 13. So you're saving 40% on gas as well. So you're burning less gas, going twice as far for the same speeds and the same weight. On top of this, altitude, a 172 can fly a lot higher. Well, not a lot higher, a few thousand feet higher. The higher you go, the less air resistance there is, so you can save more fuel. And R-44 cannot fly that high, and R-44 cannot hover at high altitudes. So both aircraft, when they get to high altitudes and the air is thinner, their performance isn't as well. They can't turn as sharp, they don't have as much lift. But Cessna 172, its flight characteristics are more similar to what it would be at low level. R-44 can't even hover at its max altitude. It can only go in straight level flight. So it's just safer to be up high in a 172. So then let's go to cost. Cost is an important driving factor. So they cost about this, R-44 is a little more, the initial cost, but maintenance on a helicopter is way more. 172, for example, it's a certified aircraft. You have to get an annual every year, which is just a checkup, and that's required for any aircraft. But if the checkup's good, you're good to go. You don't have to pay for any extra parts. If on an R-44, if you get an annual, or all your parts have a date, and if once it gets to that date, you have to replace them regardless of if they're good or not. So just by default, you will be paying so much in maintenance with a helicopter because you have to replace parts just depending on how old they are. And then once they do break, it's harder to find maintenance, and it's harder. Maintenance is more expensive because there's less qualified people. And then fuel burn, since helicopters burn more fuel, it's normally the same fuel, although a lot of helicopters are turbines, so they'll burn jet fuel, which is even more expensive and more so fuel cost is a lot more. If you're hiring pilots, helicopter pilots are harder to find, so there's that. If you're getting a commercial job, however, aircraft pilots normally make a lot more money. Like, according to the American Airlines website, the average American airline pilot who's not flying commuters will make over $200,000. And there have been reported up to 1.4 million, which is insane, but there are pilots who make that much. Whereas an oil rig pilot, which is a pretty standard job for helicopter pilots, their average is around 130. So 35% less. And then one of the big things also, if you care about yourself, your family, and your loved ones, is safety. When you lose an engine in an aircraft, you can give a pretty good glide slope, so you can glide and find somewhere to land. And a helicopter, you can't. You can auto-rotate. If your engine fails and everything works and you can do it quick enough, you can auto-rotate and land and be safe. But in a lot of scenarios, when your engine rips itself apart and you lose a blade, or your blade gets chipped or something, or you hit a power line, it's over. And according to the FAA, 80% of helicopter accidents are survived, but 95% of plane accidents are survived. So there's quite a bit higher survival rate with aircraft. Lastly, aircraft also have chutes. That's something that's been developed in the last few years. Cirrus, according to their website, they've saved over 250 people with their light aircraft chutes, which is something you cannot do in helicopters. So aircraft chute, what you'll do is, if you get into a situation where you're gonna crash, you can pop the chute and you'll just float down, which is something you cannot do with helicopters. And for those reasons, the advantages in performance, the advantages in cost, and the safer nature of planes, that is why I believe, and I think you should believe as well, that planes are more efficient aircraft than helicopters. Thank you.